Hello, everybody, and welcome to Top 5 New Comics for February 15th and 16th of 2022. I'm, as always, Chris. And Internet Law, everybody. I do it every video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and smash that like button. It means the world to me. You guys do any of those. So, thank you for continuing. And, yeah, that's it. So, let's get into these awesome books, starting with Batman the Knight, number 2. This is written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Art-Carmine Di Giandomenico. So I really like that first issue. It was a pseudo-origin story to Batman, done by one of my favorite creators and writers in comics, Chip Zdarsky, with some phenomenal art by Carmine. And I like we're exploring this kind of age of Bruce's life. Basically, when society decides that a kid is no longer a kid and is an adult, or a boy is no longer a boy in this case and becomes a man, that's when he's turning 18. He's getting out of high school. He's trying to decide what to do with his life. And it's nice because we get to see not only is Bruce dealing with the loss of his parents in different ways, and this kind of weird life he's living where his parents have been gone. He's being raised by this butler. He's also a freaking billionaire who can do whatever he wants, basically, and is set to inherit all this stuff. And it's just this craziness is going through, but he still has this mission in mind that brings him down the path of being the Batman. And I said it in my review of it on our podcast, but there was this moment in the book that just struck me because it was just so real and just such a human moment where he's sitting there with his girlfriend. They're talking about their future, what they're going to do, and what they're going to do for college and all this stuff. You're going to go to Gotham U or whatever. And Bruce goes, I think I'm going to be a cop. And his girlfriend just kind of laughs and goes, you're going to be a cop? You're a billionaire. Like, you could do so much more. Plus, no precinct in the world is going to let you, Bruce Wayne, be just a street-level cop. And it was just this awesome moment. So I'm hoping that the rest of the series, this issue included, are more of those just human moments throughout Bruce's life that kind of shape who he is. And even though we did hit the pearls and his parents getting shot moment, I kind of hope that we do stray away from those as big tentpole things and maybe just have some of them sprinkled throughout as like, yeah, these happen. We got to mention them. Because I do believe that they're overdone. That's just me. After that, I've got Thor, number 22. This is written by Donny Cates with art by Art-Nic Klein. Said it a million times. I love Donny. Donny's amazing. I read everything Donny does. So that's part of this. I've also just been so loving this Thor run. And this Thor story in particular, this God of Hammer story, which kind of takes a lot of what happened at the end of Jason Aaron's run and expands upon it and does something really cool, which is to make Mjolnir, spoilers everybody, to make Mjolnir the villain. He's the God of Hammers. He's the one that's going to strike down the Allfather. He's the one that's going to do all these things. And it's a battle because throughout Thor's life, throughout the character of Thor, Mjolnir's been a part of him. It's been the quote unquote reason that he's Thor. And now he's kind of learning. He's been learning for a while now through Jason's run and now into Donnie's run that that's not what makes him Thor, as we saw in some of the movies too recently. And it's just been just a phenomenal run. And this story in particular has just been so good. I cannot recommend Thor enough. I never thought in my life for this extended period of time I'd be saying that Thor is like one of my favorite books. But through two creative teams, I'll say two writers because different artists came on in both of them. But through two writers' runs, it's just been the best, one of the best books I've been reading. So I'm loving it. We're not going to stray too far away because after that is Hulk, number 4. This is also written by Donny Cates with art by Ryan Ottley. Thor, so the Starship Thor, the Smashtronaut story that we're doing, has been different and fun, and just such a 180 from Immortal Hulk, which is kind of good. It shows one of the problems I've had with Hulk in the past is that he's very one-dimensional. It's the Jekyll and Hyde, this and that. And there's been good runs and good stories throughout it, but a lot of people get stuck in that, like, he's Hulk and he's on the run as Bruce and all this stuff. And I like this, that Donnie just went and twisted it on its head and said, no, Hulk's the thing that keeps Bruce away from us. And now we're learning that Bruce has found a way to pilot Hulk and like make him a vehicle for Bruce's anger and Bruce's frustrations. And then through all this, we're thrown into this alternate universe where Bruce's bomb is successful, and it's this hellscape where America just went and bombed everybody with these gamma bombs. So there's these Hulk-like creatures everywhere, and spoilers for the end of that issue, but Thunderbolt Ross is the president. And the way that issue went and how it ended and how we learned that Bruce in that alternate universe isn't Hulk, but he wants to cure these Hulk creatures, really drew me in and got me really pumped for this series again. I thought the first two issues were good, but it was kind of going through some Hulk motions, and then we did something really good here. I really enjoy this book so far, and I hope that we can keep it up. Once again, Hulk, not really a book I would have thought I would have been telling you a few years ago is like on top of my list for multiple creative teams and multiple writers, and for multiple years at that. But through Immortal Hulk into this run, it's just been phenomenal. So really recommend everybody jump on the Hulk bandwagon now, because it's really good. After that, we've got Animal Castle number 3. This is written by Xavier Dorison with art by Art-Felix Delep. I kind of discovered Animal Castle on accident, and I can't remember if any of them were in my past top 5s. I know that number 1 wasn't, because I just kind of jumped on it. But it just, the idea struck me. Like, let's do a sequel to Animal Farm, that book that we were all forced to read back in middle school, high school, growing up. To anyone in the United States, I can't speak to outside the United States. And it's been this phenomenal thing of this castle, and we see the hierarchy and how there's a dictator at the top. And there's kind of a revolt by the workers, by the people at the bottom who are sick of being rationed and sick of being taken advantage of. And there's this stunning death in the first issue that you just fall in love with this character. And then in the second issue, we get to really meet who this dictator is and what he's all about. There's this awkward scene. So go and read it. This isn't a huge spoiler, but he ends up being a bull. And there's this scene where he's just kind of to add on to the fact, so you know that he's kind of the bad guy. He's in the room with 2 cows, and let's just say things are happening, and he's not very polite to these ladies. And then this character that in the first issue we kind of thought was sleazy, who was kind of a womanizer as part of the worker class. And we end up finding out that he's actually like that heart of gold kind of player type. And there's just cool dynamics throughout the book going on with the characters and how they interact. And just the fact that we're dealing with these issues about, authoritarianism, dictatorships, and all this, and what it really means when we get into the structure. And then we get the mouse that goes from town to town telling the story of Gandhi and how he rose up against oppression and all this stuff. It's just such a good book. It's This is a book from Ablaze Comics, kind of a smaller tier publisher, but this is one that I really have been championing because it's just so good and meaningful and thoughtful. And I think everybody should read it. It's really, really awesome. And then we're going to end with Primordial, number 6. This is written by Jeff Lemire with art by Art-Andrea Sorrentino. Primordial is at an end. This is the final issue. I just really been enjoying Primordial. Sorrentino's art has just made this book so good. The way it flows, when we have the moments on Earth of this alternate history going on, and these characters interacting and talking, and then we have this other part of the story that takes place in space with these animals. So, real quick, this takes place in an alternate universe where we don't land on the moon. We don't send people up into space because when we send animals up, they disappear, and we decide to cancel the NASA program, and the Russians decide to cancel their program. And we find out that these animals were kind of leapt into a different part of space. I don't know if you'd call it a different dimension, possibly, but they're just in this different part of space, and they gain this kind of intelligence. They can talk to each other. And it's the dog and the monkey. The dog the Russians sent up, the monkeys that the Americans sent up. And they're traveling through these cosmic areas that just, when you see the art that Sorrentino does, it just is stunning. I absolutely love it. And the story's really cool too. It's going to be interesting to see how they tie this one up, because I've been loving the ride, but I haven't really looked at like what I see the end of this book being, which is probably good because that means I'm enjoying the book so much that I'm not thinking too far ahead. So I love this book. I love this team. When you see these two together in a book, I can almost guarantee it's going to be good. So that's it for that. Thanks everybody so much for watching. Remember to check out the podcast, Fortress Comic News. Every week we interview a new creator in the comic world. We talk about the news and all that stuff. It's a fun show. I really enjoy making it. I'm really glad that people are watching it. If you're not, go check it out. It's awesome. And as always, both portions of that show about the news and the interviews we do are right here on YouTube every week. So thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you all here next week.